How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Chafalef, Daf 21, Masechta Sotah, friends. Alright, friends, here's the deal. Daf Chafalef is an awesome daf. It's super interesting. That being said, it's Erev Shabbos, and I didn't review it today, but I did learn it today. It should be fine. And it should be super interesting too. So I should be alright. As long as there's no sunflower people. Alright. So we're going to start in Daf Chaf Aleph, Amud Aleph, about 6-7 lines into the page. Oh, so we had said yesterday in the Mishnah that you can have a concept of zchusim, of merits, delaying the effects of the Sotah waters. Zchus demai, what kind of zchusim are we talking about? What kind of merits? Ilim zchus de teire. If you're going to tell me, well, maybe she studied Torah, maybe she listened to Babylon Talmud. Ha'ena mitzuva v'osa. But she's not mitzuva v'osa, right? There's a mitzvah for boys to learn Torah, but not necessarily for girls. So ella zchus de mitzvah. Well, maybe she did mitzvahs. Everyone has mitzvahs to do. Zchus de mitzvah mi magna kulehai. Yeah, but is zchus from doing mitzvahs, is that strong enough to save her from the potion of the Sotah? V'atana, we learn in the Brisa, as Zodar Reb Menachem Bar Yossi. Reb Menachem Bar Yossi made the following exposition: Kiner mitzvah v'Torah, or that a mitzvah is a candle and Torah is light. Tola hakosav es mitzvah b'ner v'es Torah ba'or, that the Torah compared mitzvahs to candles and Torah to light. It's a mitzvah b'ner lo ma'alecha, and it compares a mitzvah to a candle to say, maner eina magina el lefi sha'a, just like a candle only protects temporarily, right, until it it's eventually it'll run out. Af mitzvah eina magina el lefi sha'a. So also a mitzvah only temporarily helps you out while you're doing it. V'es Torah ba'or, but we compare Torah to light. Lo malach ma'or magin la'olam, just light will always be light and will always protect. Av Torah magina la'olam. So also Torah protects forever, infinitely. Ve'omer, and it says, that it will guide you as you walk. That is this world. When you lie down, it will guard upon you. Zomisa, this is when you're gestorben and wellwood. And when you wake up, it will be your speech, I guess. That is in the future with Tchias HaMesim. It's comparable to a fellow who is walking in the pitch dark, in the dark of the night, and he's scared. From the thorns, from the ditches, from the branches, from wild animals, wild beasts, and from nudniks. And above all that, he doesn't even know what direction he's going in. Nizdamna lo, he's lost. Nizdamna lo avuka shel or. So if he gets up as a candle, he gets a torch. So nitzol menakotzim menapchosim menabakanim. Okay, so he doesn't have to worry now about thorns and ditches and branches. But vadayin misare michayiroe umelistin, but he's still scared about wild beasts and nudniks. When you there be'ezed derech mahalach, he's still lost. Came to Allah Amur HaShachar, but once the light comes out, it's the morning. Well then, nitzul mechayro minalistin. Well then, the wild beasts, I guess, go away, and the nudniks, I guess, once it at nighttime, they're dangerous. But at the night, I guess during the day already, they leave you alone. He's still lost. He get lefajes drachim, but then when he gets to a road, when he gets to a landmark, well then he can figure out where he needs to go. Nitzol mikulam. He's saved from all of those things. So we'll get to the Parshas Drachim in a little bit, but we saw sort of the candles working for some things, and the light, however, being more effective than the candle, than the torch. Davar acher, alternatively, avera mechabe mitzvah, vein avera mechabe teira, that in avera can suppress your having done a mitzvah, but it cannot suppress your having studied Torah. Shenemar, as the Apostle says, Ma'im rabim lo yuchlu l'chabos es ahava, that great waters are unable to extinguish love, and love is a reference to Torah, that Torah is love. Oh, Rashi says, as the Apostle says, Heviani al beis hayayin v'digle alai ahava, and yayin is sod, gematria is sod, Torah. Rav Yosef says, Rav Yosef, mitzvah be'idna de'osik ba magno matzla, so a mitzvah at the time that you are doing the mitzvah, so it saves you from afflictions, and so it protects you from afflictions and saves you from the Yetzer Hara. All right. But where am I? But when you're not actually actively doing the mitzvah, so it can protect you from afflictions, but having done the mitzvah will not save you from the Yetzer Hara. Torah, however, whether at the time that you're studying it, or whether even at the post-studying, when you're not currently studying, magno matzla, it'll protect you from afflictions and save you from the Yetzer Hara. Maskef l'Rabba, Rabba asakasha elamiata doeg v'achitofel miloyaski baterir. But I understand, Doeg and Achitofel, did they not study Torah? And yet, they went on to do not such good things. So, why didn't the Torah protect them? So Ella Rava rather said, Rava, Torah be'idna de'osik ba. Torah, at the time that you're studying Torah, magna umatzla, it saves from afflictions, and it protects from afflictions and saves from the Yetzer Hara. Be'idna de'lo osik ba. But if you're not currently studying it, aguni magna, it can protect you from afflictions, but atzuli lo matzla, it won't save you from the Yetzer Hara. However, mitzvah, bein be'idna de'osik ba, bein be'idna de'lo osik ba, whether it's at the time that you're studying Torah, whether it's whether it's at the time that you're doing the mitzvah or post having done the mitzvah, agune magna, it'll protect you from afflictions, but atzuli lo matzle, it won't save you from the Yetzer Hara. Ravina Amar Sanatnu, so going back to our initial question, so if we say that her merits can hold off the effects of the Sotah water, what merits are we talking about? We can't, right? It's not, the merits of mitzvahs are not enough. The merits of Torah, she's not mitzvah v'osa. So Ravina Amar la'olam zchus Torah, it is the zchus of the Torah, with the ka'amait in a mitzvah v'osa, but you said, yeah, but she doesn't have a mitzvah to study Torah. Nihid if kude lo mafkida, granted, maybe she doesn't have the chiyuv to study Torah, but be'agra, if as reward, de makrin u'mesnayin bonayu, that they bring their sons to cheder and to yeshiva, v'nachnu l'gavayu, and they wait for their husbands at the osman bei midrasha to come back from the beis hamedrash, milo palgon badayu, do they not split the reward? And therefore, even though it may not be for the zchus of having studied Torah, but the zchus of having been supportive of the boys in her family who study Torah, so then she gets as much zchus as they do. It sounds like palgon badayu, right? They split it. So therefore, that's the zchus. My parshas drachim, we mentioned that then you get to some kind of a landmark, and now you're no longer lost. So Amr of Chizd is a Talmud Chacham V'Yom HaMisa. That is a Torah scholar who has studied the Torah and is now on his deathbed. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Amar Zeh Talmud Chacham V'Yirah Ascheit. This is a Torah scholar and the fear of sin. Mazutra Amar Zeh Talmud Chacham Desalka Leishmaitza Aliba Deilchasa. That this is a Talmud Chacham who is able to have his opinion accepted when it comes to halachas. We said that an avera can extinguish a mitzvah but cannot extinguish Torah. Rav Yosef Darshe Reb Menachem Bar Yossi Lahaikra Ki Sinai. Says of Yosef that Reb Menachem Bar Yossi darshans this pasuk like I think what he's saying is like me, right? Because Rav Yosef was Sinai, is that what it's saying? Rav Yosef is Sinai and Rabbo is Oker Harim. So he's saying that Rav Menachem Bar Yosef darshan the pasuk like him. V'yomle darshua doeg v'achitofel hachi. And if Doeg and Achitofel would have darshaned it like this, Lo radfu basar David, they wouldn't have chased after David. The pasuk says, Lemer Elokim azavo v'gomer, to say that God abandoned him. My darush v'lo yira b'cha ervas davar, that when it says that there won't be anything, no problems, but what they didn't realize that in Avera, the Avera of Bathsheba can undo mitzvahs but not undo Torah, so they shouldn't have thought that they had a chance with David. My bozi of Ozulo, right. The pasuk says, "Im yitain ish es kol hon beso be'ahava," right? Bozi of Ozulo. That, right, you can't buy, we said ahava is Torah, right? You can't buy learning Torah. What does that mean? It's not like Shimon Achi Azariah, that Shimon Achi Azariah, Shimon studied, they had like a Yisachar Zvulun thing going on. Shimon studied Torah and his brother Azariah supported him. Or like Rabbi Yochanan was supported by the Devei Nesiyah, by the Beit Nesiyah. In those situations, you can split it, right? Just like we said that, women can get the schar of the boys in their family, so they can split that for being supportive. So also, right, you can, if a person wants to support somebody who's studying Torah and get a portion of their reward, so beseder. Like a Hillel v'Shevna, rather, when it says that you can't buy Torah, it means like Hillel and Shevna, the Chiyasar of Dimi Omer Hillel v'Shevna Achi Havu, that Hillel and Shevna were brothers. Hillel Asak Batorah, that Hillel studied Torah, and as you know from Masechta Yoma, he was very, very, very poor. Nobody was supporting him. Shevna Avad Iska, and Shevna went into business. L'sof Amarle Tarnarig V'Niflig, and then after the fact, after Hillel was Moser Nefesh so much and he was dirt poor, Shevna says, hey, why don't we split it? Yotzutz Avasko V'Amre, a voice came out of heaven and says, no way, no how. Even if a person would give all of his money, right? It's pointless. Meaning, if you set up from advance that you're going to support somebody in their learning, so beseder. But if after the fact, after they were moser nefesh so much and lived a life of poverty, then it's too late. It says the Gemara, the Mishnah had said, Omer ben Azai chayv adam lelamed es v'chule. So Ben Azai said in the Mishnah that a fellow has an obligation to teach his daughter Torah so that they know, right? Meaning if you have a Sotah, for example, there's intricate halachas when it comes to Sotahs. For example, the fact that the zchus can be told. How's a woman going to know if she was never taught? So therefore says Ben Azai, a fellow has an obligation to teach his daughter Torah. Rabbi Eliezer, says Rabbi Eliezer, Kol melamed es bito Torah melamdo tiflos. That if a fellow teaches his daughter Torah, he's teaching her narishkeit. So Tiflus HaKadaitich, what? She's teaching Narishkeit? Where the Torah is Narishkeit? So Ella Ema Ki'ilu Lamda Tiflus. It's as though he's teaching her Narishkeit. Omer Reb Abo, my time at Rabbi Eliezer. How come Rabbi Eliezer says this? The Chsiv, as the Pasuk says, Ani Chochma Shachanti Orma. That I am wisdom, the Torah, and I'm tricky. Once a fellow has knowledge, once a fellow knows the Torah, so then they can become tricky, and we don't want her to become tricky. The rabbis who disagree with Rabbi Eliezer and say that women can learn Torah, so then what do they do with this pasuk of Ani Chochma Shachanti Ormo? So Rabbi Yossi Rab Chanina in Divrei Torah miskayim in Elo b'mishamayim in atzmo orum. That Divrei Torah can only be miskayim in a person who makes himself orum. Whether it means that they, it's like that they basically give up everything else just so that they could study Torah and become poor from everything else, or maybe it means that he's always trying to do different things to learn a little bit more and trying to chap a shtickle more here, chap a shtickle more dartin. Shenemar ani chochma shachanti ormo. Rabbi Yochanan in Divrei Torah miskayim in Elo b'mishamesim atzmo kimisheeno. Says Rabbi Yochanan that Divrei Torah can only be miskayim in a person who makes himself like he's a nothing, like he's a nobody. That wisdom, that the Torah will be me'ayin, for making yourself like you're nothing, be very humble, as if you're a nobody, and then you can divrei Torah can be miskayim. Rabbi Yeshua Amar wrote to Isha v'chulei. So Rabbi Yeshua had said that a woman would prefer like kav v'tiflus, right? So my kamar, what's he saying? Hacha kamar wrote to Isha v'kav v'tiflus, that a woman would prefer a little bit less physical comforts, but have a husband around who they could spend time together. So v'tiflus imo mitusha kabenu fishas, then maybe a lot more money, access to a lot more capital, but maybe a husband who's not around so much. So and then here also kilu, she'd be happier, right? Ignorance is bliss. She'd rather know less and be able to have a good time without having to feel bad about it. He would say that if you have a chassid who's an idiot, what's the example of a chassid who's an idiot? If a woman is drowning in a river, and he says, look, it's not tznius for me to save her. That's a chassid who's an idiot. What's an example of a nudnik who's sneaky? That is, for example, if you have a nudnik who needs to go to court, and before his fellow litigant gets there, he's already trying to slip in some arguments to the judge in advance. That's what we call a sneaky nudnik. Rababo Omer says, Rababo zanosin dinner lo'ani lahashin lo masayim zuz. Says Rababo, this is somebody who gives a dinner to a poor person so that he has 200 zuz. The Tanan is, we learn in the Mishnah, Misha yesh lo masayim zuz, because somebody who has 200 zuz, lo yitol leket shicha chofeh. Once you have 200 zuz to your name, you can no longer collect. You no longer qualify to collect leket shicha chanpeh. And if you have 199, of course, you can. And this guy gives you one extra zuz just so you cannot qualify for leket shicha chanpeh. That's a sneaky nudnik. And also you can qualify for Maisani. Haylo Masayim Chasar Dinar, if you have 200, right, 199, so then Afilu Elef Nosin Lo Kachas, you can even then give him 1,000 dinars, right? Meaning once he qualifies for these Leket Shich Chapeh Maisani, so then you can give him, as much as you want. But if you give him, so if you initially gave him one extra dinar, so now he has 200, he can't collect anything. But as long as he has 199, you can even now give him 1,000, he could qualify for. So is that Yitol Yikin Chaparan. V'b'asi Omar Rabbi Yochanan ze amasi eitza limkor min chosim mu'atin. Okay, says Rabbi that in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that a sneaky nudnik is somebody who gives advice to orphans to sell their inheritance when there isn't very much inheritance. To Amar Rabbi Amar Rabbi Yochanan, that says Rabbi in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Yisom shekadmu machu bin chosim mu'atin masha machu. Friends, who remembers what that's talking about? So Gemara we saw in Ksubis that if the father passes away, and there are sons and there are daughters, and there aren't that many, there's not enough possessions for everybody to get. So we say that the girls get the possessions for the mizonis, and the boys have to go beg. But what if before they even go to Bezdin to divide things up, they already just go and sell the property, and then take the money? So they're a bunch of sneaky nudniks, but what they did. But they would be considered sneaky nudniks. Abai Omar says, Abai is amasi eitza limkor ben chosim kirab Shimon ben Gamliel. It's like somebody who sells property like Shimon ben Gamliel. The Tanis within the Brayse nichsai loch v'acharecha lefloni. That if you have a fellow who says, so you have Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Reuven's dying, and he says to Shimon, my property goes to you. And then after it goes to you, I guess when you die, it'll go to Levi. And then v'yard arishan u'machar v'achal. And while Shimon has it, he sells it and spends the money. And now there's not going to be anything to give on to Levi. Now Reuven has said to Shimon, look, I'm giving it to you, but afterwards I want it to go to Levi. If Shimon then sells all of it, then what? There's nothing left to Levi. So Asheri motz miyad ala kuchis the Rebbe. So Rebbe says, look, Levi can always just go back to whoever bought it from Shimon and say, look, you couldn't buy it to Shimon because it was guaranteed. You couldn't buy it from Shimon because it was guaranteed to go to me next. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Amar, but says Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Ein lasheni el mashashir rishon. No, Levi can only get whatever is left over from Shimon, but he can't go to the buyers and say, it's mine. You can't do that. So if somebody advises Shimon to sell the stuff, well, that person would be a sneaky nudnik. If Yosef bar Choma Omer of Sheish is machriya acherim bar Chosav, this is what we call a celebrity rabbi. You know about celebrity rabbis? They, put on a show. They put on a whole show that they're like, a rabbi, and then people believe them and give them money and things like that. So even though they might just be sneaky nudniks. Reb Zrika Omar Reb Huna Zamekel La'atzmo Umachmel Acherim. This is somebody who's lenient on himself but is stringent on other people. That's what we call a sneaky nudnik. Ula Omar Zeshakar V'shanav Lo Shimish Talmidei Chacham. Ula says it's somebody who learns Mishnayos, learns Tanakh, but he doesn't learn Gemara like we do on Babylon Talmud, right? So therefore, he might convince you, he might make you think that he knows what he's talking about, but because he's cool, you see him studying Mishnayos and stuff, but at the end of the day, if he's not really learning Gemara and understanding how to reconcile discrepancies and things like that, so then he might just be... 1 second. Is someone here? Someone's here. He might just be a sneaky nudnik. Friends, that was daf Chof Aleph of Masechta Sotah. It's a pretty interesting daf. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.